I'll stick to my pattern where I won't make an opening statement and then I'll talk for 20 minutes. No, thanks everyone for coming out. Obviously excited for the season to get rolling. For me, it's real hard not to think about how last season ended. Having a national champion and how I feel like we've used that momentum moving forward. We have a great senior class that I think has raised the level of the program. We had a great senior class last year that raised the level of the program. We got a great freshman class that's coming in, and they're starting the program at a different level. And that's the thing that I've really challenged my seniors with. This was a group that came in wanting to advance the program by leaps and bounds. And they've done a great job of that, but the work's not done. And that's one thing that I've told them. And for them, the work's not done even after they graduate. They have to leave this in a better place, but then has to continue to build from there. That's a challenge. It's not, hey, we had a great senior class, and then, well, what happened to you and I? No, man, we have the deepest team that I've had. When you start to look at matchups a little bit, you start to look at weight classes, you start to look at battles you're going to have within the room. It gets exciting. You start to see, I think, the level of ability that guys have. You get excited. You start to see the things that we talk about and preach, being selfless, giving back to one another, leaving the program in a better place. I see that happening with all of our guys. When we talk about being gritty and tough competitors, that even when things don't go our way, how do we move forward? And that's the most important thing, and these guys are moving forward the right way. And then they're being coachable, they're listening. If these guys really, truly want to be great, then they have to understand that they have to be able to be molded a little bit and take direction and take some criticism and then be able to handle it and get better from it. I tell you, this is the start of my 10th season, and 10 years go by fast. It's pretty crazy how quick, you start getting into 10 years. And when I first took over, you're thinking, well, you're going to get things where you want it in a year. It's like, nah, I don't think I'll ever have things where I want it. Because, as myself and my coaching staff, we're always working to get better and learn. We're never going to stay in one place. We're always going to try to do things better, and we're always going to try to get as much as we possibly can out of each and every athlete. And that's what we ask of our athletes. I think one thing that we're really trying to do is, we have 33 guys on our roster. Right now, we're trying to be strong 1 to 33, 1 to 34, 1 to 35. How many guys are on the roster? Not 1 to 10. Every single guy has to add to what we're trying to do. And every single guy is part of that. And, I think about our 4 seniors last year. We had 2 that, one ended up a national champion. One was a 4-time qualifier for us and wrestled in every single match. And we had 2 guys that never put our singlet on. And then all 4 of those guys had an impact on our program. And that's what has to continue to happen moving forward. That's what has to happen with a senior class, and has to happen with this freshman class and every class in between. So to say I'm not excited, man, I'm always excited. Man, it's wrestling season. That's the only good thing about it starting to get cold out, is that I know wrestling is getting really close. I got to watch this weekend, got to watch my boys wrestle, and gets me excited to watch my older guys wrestle. So, I can get in some specifics as far as weight class and those kind of battles, but man, the level of the program's been raised, and it has to continue to raise. There will be no drop-off. And I know, we got a great senior class, and, someone asked me, well, who do you got for seniors this year? And, you start going through and you start talking about Schwarm and Thompson and Steyert and Lujan, and you're like, and Patton and Payton Moore, and that's a lot of guys. But I tell you what, we have a group of guys in there that are ready to kind of just load that chamber back up and fire back out. And that's where our guys are at right now. We still got a little bit till we compete. I know a lot of guys are starting to compete this weekend. We don't start till next weekend. And, we can start the Harold Nichols and look forward to getting all those guys out and competing. So got a big crowd today. I don't know. I appreciate it. I don't know if people really want to hear me talk that much, but I appreciate you coming out. But I guess that's good, if you raise the level of the program, and you got the team that we have coming back. You're coming back from having a national champion. We have 3 guys that have been All-Americans that are back, and we have 6 guys that have been to the national tournament back. Yeah, you know. So, yeah, we do got a heck of a good team coming back, but we got a lot of work to do before we head up to Minneapolis. So, I guess any questions?
It's almost 12 months since the injury happened. Where is Jacob Coleslaw at in his preparation for the season?
He's getting there. Unfortunately, he had another setback, but those things happen. The great thing is it's we're not even to November yet, and the gritty, tough competitor that he is. He'll be ready. He'll be ready when it's most important. Like if it comes to he can't wrestle to the Big 12s, then he can't wrestle to the Big 12s. He'll be ready. I can tell you that. I know that he will be ready to have an impact on the 97-pound weight class. He's a full 97-pounder now. When he wrestled and was an All-American 2 years ago, he was an 84-pounder still. Now he's a true 97-pounder. And I tell you, the injury is what helped that happen. And, sometimes it's hard to look at an injury being a good thing, but for me and our guys, I try to them always to look at, adversity is an opportunity. And him, I don't think he would have ever been a full-time or full-size 97-pounder without that. Because he was able to lift, he was able to do some things that he wouldn't have done because he would have been on the mat so much. He loves to be on the mat. And that guy, he's going to be a great coach. He understands wrestling very well. And, I'm so happy they changed those rules, and we know we got him for 2 more years. So that's exciting for us, that we still have him for 2 more years. I know that he's ready to get back in there. I'm not sure when we'll get him out. When his body's ready, then we'll let him out there. And I can tell you this: some guys' shoulders are in some trouble though when he gets on top of them.
So it's one of those things he might not be here until after the.
I'm just saying, like, I don't care. It does not matter. It doesn't matter because he'll be in the right frame of mind. If he can't wrestle if it's Big 12s, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying that's the case because we want him to be able to wrestle on the 10th. And if one thing I've learned in the last few years, when you get guys a little bit older, sometimes a little bit of time and a little bit shorter season's not a bad thing. So he will be prepared and ready if he gets a full season or not. And he's ready to go take a title, I can tell you that.
What kind of impact have you seen Drew's accomplishment kind of have on the guys preparing for the season after seeing, your teammate
Yeah.
come away with a national title?
Well, now it's not something that we're talking about. Now it's not something that I'm saying that you can do. It's something they saw a teammate do. It's someone that they saw that's right next to him, and maybe they took him down in a practice. Maybe they beat him up in a practice. They were able to do that, and now they know they can do it. But, it just made it believable. Now every one of those guys, and I don't know if you guys, I still remember in the tunnel and all those guys kind of crowding around him and hugging him, man, you could see it in their eyes. There was a difference. There was a difference, and not that they think it's going to be easy and not going to be handed to them, but, man, that we can win a national title at UNI. You can do that. And you know what? I said it was 19 years. It will not be 19 years again. I know that. I know what I see in the room. I know the work that guys are putting in. I know the belief they have in their preparation, in themselves, in their teammates, and in the program. And when you have that and that snowball gets rolling, you got that momentum, you just keep it rolling. And that's what we just got to keep building on our momentum. And that's why, we starting off in our first competition, it's important that we compete in a way that continues to build on that. Right now rankings, I don't think we got a guy ranked number 1. I don't think we have any of that stuff. The great thing is we're going to have an opportunity throughout the season, because I don't think we're getting a whole lot of respect as a team for the group of guys that we have. But, the great part of that is we get to go out and prove it. And that's what our guys are working to do every day. My biggest focus right now for our guys is that improvement is all they're concerned with. What they can control and focus, that's what they're concerned with. Not with worrying about anything other than that. And our guys have done a good job of that. But, man, Drew definitely, he raised the level of the program. And now it's time for another guy to do it, or another 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 10. It's time for that to happen.
To follow up on KJ's question, did that open any doors for you for recruiting?
Yeah.
Take your calls now?
Well, we just keep calling until they answer anyway. So, and that's not a lie. I mean, sometimes it's a longer, a few more calls than others. But every kid that we talk to, they want to be a national champion. I mean, they do. That's part of where you come, and that's and we just showed that we can develop one of those in our program. And then you start hearing his story. It's like, well, this guy was never a state champion. This guy had a losing record as a freshman, so there's progression happening, right? I mean, guys are able to move along in the program and improve and get better. I mean, so I think guys see that, and then guys get around the program, and we keep getting called different, which I like different. Different, that means that we're not like everyone else, and I'm okay with that. But we did it in a smaller program. We're not a Power 5. There were 7 teams that had a national champion last year, only 7, and we were one of them. And yeah, do we use that? Absolutely, because that's a big deal. So yeah, it opens up a lot more doors in recruiting, but for me, recruiting is still about building a relationship, for those kids to find the place they belong and believe in. And if they believe in us, man, I can tell you we believe in them, and that's no bull, man. And I believe in our guys, and I believe in our guys when they leave, and they're 5 years from the program, 10 years from the program, I still believe in them. And that's the kind of coaching staff that we have, and that's the kind of relationship we have with our athletes. So, yeah, it's opened more doors, but what can open more doors is you have multiple champions. You start winning team national titles. You start doing those type of things, and then that opens even more doors. Yep. All of them. Really. That's the way they should be thinking. Briscaglia had a really good year last year. I think he beat maybe 4 guys that made the tournament, 3 or 4 guys. 3 guys that were ranked in the top 20. I think some guys that are there might even be some guys in the top 10 right now that he beat last year. Bennett, Blockus. Unfortunately, Cade Lara's a guy that I'd love to see him out there. He had some health issues and isn't in school this semester. But yeah, we got a bunch of guys that are pushing to be the guy, and they should be. Why would you wait? Man, it doesn't get easier because you get older. Attrition's kind of this thing where guys sometimes they think, well, I get older, it'll get easier. No, it doesn't. A lot of times it gets harder. But yeah, we got a lot of young guys who have, we talk about raising the tide of the program. Those guys are doing it because they came into the program at a different spot. Even the freshmen that came in this year, they're coming in with, okay, I just saw a guy win a national title. I can do that too. And I plan on doing it. I plan on, we were here and we're going to raise it here and we're going to raise it here. And that's what I feel like that freshman class has done. 9 kids from the state of Iowa. That was 9 kids from the state of Iowa. And that's when I talk about being Iowa's team. Yeah, that's why. We had 9 kids in the last class from the state of Iowa. And the kids that come here believe in it and they want to be here, along with kids from everywhere else around the country. But, those guys have done a really good job. They've been incredibly focused and diligent just how they've went about everything. So yeah, I'm excited for those guys and see how they push this whole group forward, because I think we have a really good mix of, we talked about some older senior leadership, but I'm asking these freshmen to start to become leaders now. Don't wait because we have a Max Thompson, we have a Hochschlag, we have a Steyert, we have those guys that live that way. Don't wait for those guys to leave to start taking that role. Take it now. And that's what I'm trying to get our older guys to put on those guys. You start being the leader right now. And those guys have done a really good job of that. We just got to keep moving the needle forward. Absolutely. Got a ton of talent and ability. But you know what? You start looking at 74 being a guy like Steyert, and 84 being a guy like Lujan, and 97 being a guy like Hochschlag. You're going to have to do some work. Unfortunately, when you get some depth, there's going to be some good guys maybe on the outside looking in, but I don't know what's going to happen throughout the whole season. We got a 4.5-month-long season. I don't know what's going to happen with injuries. If anyone's got a crystal ball, especially for recruiting, tell me. Bring it to me, man. I'll take it, because I'd like to have that too. Some of that stuff they can't control, and that's what we're trying to get our guys. That stuff he can't focus. He can't. If he focuses on, well, I got to do this and that, he's got to focus on getting better every day. He's got to focus on how he's talking to himself when he leaves this room. He's got to, what time's he getting to bed? That's what I want him focusing on. But yeah, he's got a ton of ability, man, and man, he's explosive and a really good competitor. But we have some serious battles that are going to happen in some of our weight classes, which is a great thing. And I'll tell you this: as long as guys take it right, and this is because I've been in a place where it's like you try to run the guy out of the room. That's not our room. Our room is you try to make that guy in front of you better. You try to make him the best possible guy, so when he steps out there and he's the guy at the Big 12s, the national tournament, he's the most prepared guy in the country. And then you know what? When he's on top of that stand, even though you're not standing there, you are. You're part of that with him. You're part of it with him. And that's the kind of team that we're building. There's a whole bunch of guys right now that someone needs to step up. Peyton's had a really good summer. Derek Holschlag is a guy that just talk about putting your work boots on and coming in every day and doing the work and being incredibly disciplined. He's done a great job. He's built into a 57-pounder. Gertz is a guy that's got probably the most explosive guy that we have on our team. I mean, incredibly explosive. Someone's got to step up in that mix. 65, Yant's going down. He's put a ton of work in this spring and summer and fall. Done a great job. Pat Shanefelter is going to be moving up from 57 to 65. You got a guy like Isaiah Patton he's been in the lineup at 65. But it's time for someone to really step up and emerge and kind of really take it by the throat. I want to be able to say, well, this is kind of the guy, but I believe in all our guys. Someone's going to step up, and someone's going to be the guy that's going to step in there and go score a whole bunch of points for us and compete in a way that it inspires the guy that's going to come behind them. We got a great lineup in those weight classes that are a little bit of a question mark. When you guys are looking at paper, they're not question marks in my eyes. It's just like which guy's going to rise. And that's the challenge for all of them.
So what's the point of 97 if Holschlag isn't taking that win?
That's a good question. I'm going to have to figure that one out. I'm being a little bit honest. Because Tyrell, this will be a good year for him to redshirt. And just really focus on improving, getting better. He's grown into a 97-pounder too. And he's had a good spring and summer. But we'll have to figure out if he's not ready. Like I said, I don't care. I mean, do I want to win all these duels? Yeah, but anybody remember what our first dual meet score was last year? I do, but I'm sure you don't. You remember we had a national champion and All-American. So, I mean, I'm not just saying we're building up. We're going to get our best team ready, but he's got to be healthy. And heck, he's got to be. This guy, I know he's in the right frame of mind. And if he's not healthy, if he's in the right frame of mind, he's still going to be the man. But I don't know. Hopefully he wakes up tomorrow and he just feels perfect.
Anyone else? Thanks, guys.
Yep.
We're gonna have some wrestlers available in the room. Photographers.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to get everybody going. Just that see what you like. And
I mean,
if you
he'll be redshirt this year, but he's pretty dang good.